It's recording.
Okay, good.
All right, don't stop it. I'm just going to join you.
What's up, everyone? It's Drew from the Drewperience. I'm back from the Netherlands, still a little jet lagged, wearing my new cardigan. And today's guest is a long time in the making. Like, this is elegance right here. Like, she's a proud business owner of Tallowed and Free. She's got the best video of why young people in Canada should be conservatives. And she ran against a valiant campaign against Melanie Joly. And I do think she's a big voice in the conservative movement. I'm joined by the one, the only, the elegant, and wow, and the most attractive guest yet, Margie Ramos. Welcome to the show, Margie.
Thank you. That's a lot of compliments, Drew. Well, thank you so much for having me here on your podcast and also for coming all the way here to Agence Cartierville to have this interview with me.
Well, it's not that bad. It's like I'm used to it. When we made it work, and it's like what I did with Senator Leo, so that's the most important.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much for this opportunity to appear in your podcast.
Hey, as I said, you're doing great things, and obviously there's a lot to talk about because like you really showcased why you're one of the voices in the conservative movement. But before that, guys, just to let you know, she's got a business. I got to plug it in, Tallowed and Free for skincare products, because she's not just like one that helps politically. She's got a great business. My stepmom got one of the shampoo sticks. Great. She loves it, by the way.
Aww.
So make sure to buy it. It's Canadian owned. They have a store in Old Montreal they just launched, and it's growing like a stock. So make sure to get your products there or online at Tallowed and Free. So see? Promise to give you to plug it in there.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Drew.
Yeah, so I got to ask, because honestly, before you became a conservative member and you ran Tallowed and Free, what's your journey? Because you weren't born in Canada, you were born in the Philippines, and then you came here as a youth.
Yeah, so I came here to Canada with my family when I was 10 years old. So most of my life was here in Canada, in Montreal, Quebec. But I also moved to Toronto in 2017 and lived there for 4 or 5 years. I worked there, then moved back here during the pandemic. And in 2022, late 2022, I started Tallowed and Free. And that was also around the same time when I joined the Conservative Party. So before that, I was in tech. I was never into politics. But because of the pandemic and because Pierre Poilievre became the leader of the Conservative Party, I thought, wow, okay, maybe I should get involved here. So I started volunteering for the Conservative Party. Not so much, but I was heavily involved in the by-election in La Salle and Marc-Verdun last year, where we had Louis Alenti as a candidate. And from there, I made friends, got to know a lot of volunteers in the Conservative Party, and my whole journey in the Conservative Party really started there, I would say, because that's when I was really involved in the party, and that's when I became a Conservative Party candidate for the federal election that happened last spring.
Amazing. So you came here at 10 years old, you've been to Toronto. I like to call Ontario Ontarable.
Oh.
I don't like Ontario. I'm sorry. No offense to anyone in Ontario. It's just it's like you're not like Quebec. You don't have the nightlife we have. You're not on our level. I'm sorry. I'm them fighting words. But no, what kind of role did you have in tech? That's interesting.
Yeah, well, I was in partnerships.
Okay.
I was managing accounts also and doing business development.
Okay. Interesting. And so you got involved. So when you saw Pierre come up, it was kind of like you felt like he was different from other politicians, and that's when you saw like an opportunity to get involved. And were you involved with the leadership campaign at all, or more?
No, I wasn't. But no, I wasn't actually. I was mostly on Twitter with a pseudonym. I was really into Bitcoin. I was in the Bitcoin space during that time, but the other reason why I love Pierre Poilievre as the leader of the Conservative Party was in 2022, he was also showing that he likes Bitcoin, right, as a digital currency. And so his message in general And even the way he talks resonated with me, especially at that time.
That makes total sense. And how did Tallowed Free start? Was it just something you wanted to do? You started like while in Toronto, or what? And what led to that?
No, it started here in Montreal, here
Okay.
in Cartierville, actually, in my kitchen. And I was around 32, 33 at that time. And I was looking into skincare products that are natural, because I learned that a lot of products that we put on our skin, like cosmetics, moisturizers, lotions, they have chemicals that disrupt our endocrine system, right?
Yeah.
So
parabens is
yes,
a big
exactly, phthalates. And so I became a little bit anxious about it and started looking into natural and still effective alternatives. And that's when I discovered tallow. I had a friend who told me about it, and people on Twitter who were following me, they were telling me to look into tallow for skincare. So then I looked it up, and I thought it was a bit too pricey at that time. And I decided that I was like, look, I can make this on my own, right? So I just started making them in my kitchen and started posting about these new products that I made, and people were buying them. I didn't even have a website. And then one of my friends, well, actually, she was more of an acquaintance. She's a writer for an online magazine, and when she saw my post, she asked me if she could interview me for the magazine, and I was like, sure. And surprisingly enough, the owner of that online magazine read the article and was really impressed. He was like, who is that girl? I want to meet her. What she's doing is really inspiring and interesting. So we got on a call, and he has like this office in Madison Avenue in New York, and he wanted to invest in Tallowed Free. So before I met with him, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to have a website. I'm gonna have to make this look professional. Also, before my friend publishes the article. So that's how it really started, you know. I didn't really think it was gonna work, but I had a feeling that it might work. So, you know, like logically, it's like, it might not work, but like there's a gut feeling that felt like this might become something, right? So I went with what I felt. And surprisingly enough, you know, like that friend acquaintance wanting to interview me when I didn't even have a website yet for that online magazine validated how I felt. And then that owner of that publishing company who showed interest in investing in Tallowed Free when I just launched it made me feel like, okay, I should continue doing this. And at that time, I was still working for that tech company that I just
So be like work full time, go to the gym, and then at nighttime like work on like the business as we see, like when say if you have like 24 hours in a day, but you were actually doing it, not just saying it, like you were doing it. Wow.
Yeah, and I guess in a way it's also because I'm not doing this to make money, right? Especially when I had a full-time job at that time, right? For me, it wasn't about money, it was about impact. It was about how I discovered something that works for me, that is nourishing for the skin, and that does not harm our health. I felt that I should make this available to as many people as possible. And I felt like maybe I could even disrupt the skincare industry with this, right? So it wasn't about making a lot of money or making any money. It was about making an impact, a positive impact in people's lives.
So you guys, that's why you got to follow Tallowed Free, because you have it here. We got to make a reel out of this when it's all. I got to make a ton of reels now. You're gonna like, and make sure to follow Tallowed Free, because it's I said, it's like she's doing this to make an impact, because too many skin products have terrible ingredients in them, and then it dries the skin, or it's going to affect you some way or another.
Yeah,
so
they can affect your fertility, right?
Yeah, I've been hearing about that.
Yeah, like that's why I was like 32, 33 years old at that time, and I'm like, well, I want to have at least one child one day, right? So that's why I was like, okay, let me get into this. And also at the same time, use that platform, use that brand to raise awareness about how these makeups that we put on our skin, lotions, hair products that we apply on our hair, how they can affect our fertility and also our overall health. Because some of them, they also have chemicals that are carcinogenic, right? They can cause cancer. So it's important to be aware of how these products that we put on our skin, our hair, our body on a daily basis can affect our health.
Very true, very important. So make sure to get Tallowed and free if you want to have good health. I got to ask, because obviously you said you liked Pierre because you liked Bitcoin. For me,
and also because
yeah.
he was standing up for things that I value, not just Bitcoin.
No,
right?
like actual, like,
Yeah.
freedom, like individual rights and freedoms. Whether, I mean, look, we could talk about the convoy, but it's like, I mean, honestly, that was my sticking point. Like
Me too.
when he said, like, because it's like, I mean, look, I had a family member that had a injury from, I mean, I'm not pro or anti like vaccine, that's controversial. But I mean, it's like, look, it's like they had a vaccine injury, and it's like, I didn't agree with the mandates. I mean, like they should have, the messaging should have been better. And he was the only one that stood with the truckers, really, with Andrew Scheer. And, that's when I realized, okay, maybe this guy is like trying to just bring back some form of common sense and some normality, because we needed it at the time. But then when the Emergencies Act was invoked, that's when I said, yeah, I'm going. It's like I'm like, sign me up. Like, I kept it hidden from people. But then when your video came out during the election about what it means to be conservative, I think, guys, go watch that video. Like, go creep her profile, go creep it, watch it, because it's a very impactful message. Because yeah, conservatives, we get a bad name. I feel like it's like you say, like, it's like we're seen as like old, white, or like,
Racist.
closed-minded, homophobic. Guys, I'm autistic. Does that make me like a bad person to be conservative? That's where we're at now. But no, bad joke. But no, your video is really good. Like, and I think honestly, like, probably won a few memberships. I mean, I think CPC should like call you and say, hey, that video was very good. How did you make it? Was that you and Chris who did that, or was it more you?
Okay, so speaking of that video, you're talking about when I was talking in front of an audience,
Yes.
and there was young people behind
Yes.
me. So it was during my meet and greet here in Hansik-Cartierville, and I actually wrote a script that I was going to read in front of the audience. And when I pulled that script, I was just like, okay, forget this. I don't want to like read in front of people. It's not gonna come authentic. So I was like, I was just gonna speak from the heart, and that's what came out. And the video was about how a lot of people who always voted liberal, young, older, around our age, right? They decided that they're going to vote conservative this time around because the Conservative Party's platform at that time resonated with them. So a lot of my volunteers they joined the Conservative Party for the first time for that specific election. And I had volunteers who came from different walks of life, with different faiths, different beliefs, right? I had Jews, I had Muslims, I had Christians, I had atheists, but we had a common goal, right? And that goal is to help Canada become prosperous again, right? Like help average Canadians and Quebecers thrive in this economy and turn things around for the country. That was a common goal, and that's the common values that we shared, despite our differences.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too. Like, I was going around, like, I mean, even though I was in the Mount Royal riding, and I was with Neil Oberman, who I'm sure you met during the campaign. So there was his campaign. Like, I gotta say, it was a campaign of attrition and a dogfight, because we really gave Anthony, like the incumbent who won again. Congrats to him, even though I don't agree with him. Like, we really gave him a tough fight. Like, Mount Royal was winnable for the first time in 80 years. And it was really great to see. And I was going also to other people and other ridings and saying, like, for example, it's controversial. Like, I was going around saying, look, I know you guys are like, impassioned about the whole like Middle East conflict going on with Palestine and Israel. We need to forget about that and realize we're in Canada. When we put two and two together, like, I was going up to my Muslim friends and Jewish friends. We're the same. We both are entrepreneurial. Our religions and faiths, preach about not taking interest and debt. Why don't we come together, and then we can worry about that foreign conflict later. But right now, our country needs saving with what's happened the past 10 years. And some were like, you're absolutely right. I'm gonna go vote conservative. Like I said, like, it was very impactful. Like, and honestly, it's like, I took a lot of flack for coming out conservative. It's easier to admit I was. like I'm on the spectrum than it is to say your political views. And then I saw your video, I was like, yeah, it's empowering now. So yeah, you really inspired a lot of people.
Oh, thank you. It was very hard for me as well to not even just come out as a, I guess, conservative, right? Because for hardcore conservatives or people who are too far on the right, I'm not conservative enough. Or for people with conservative values, I'm not conservative enough. For people who are neither liberal or conservative, I'm just Margie also, right? And, you know, I have friends who are neither conservative or liberal. They don't even care about politics.
They're independent.
Yeah, they're independent, right? Or they just don't want to be, boxed in, right? But they do see what's going on in the country, right? And I have friends who are liberals. Like they identify with the Liberal Party. They say that they're liberals. And I was surprised about how those friends remained my friends and how they supported my campaign either by liking my posts, by still being my friend, or by even donating to my campaign and showing up to my events. It surprised me how they didn't see a conservative person. They didn't see a Conservative Party member or even a Conservative Party candidate. What they saw was Margie, and Margie has these beliefs and these views, and she really wants what's best for the country and for the average Canadians and Quebecers alike, and I'm gonna support her, right? That's who they saw. They saw me. They didn't see somebody who falls under this umbrella. And that's also why now, since I came back from my trip to Asia and the Middle East, because I wasn't working, and I'm just I took some time off to just figure out what I really want to do with Tallowed and Free, and even with my personal brand, right? Because I went from being known as the Conservative Party candidate who ran against Melanie Joly, who runs Tallowed and Free, right? But how do I merge everything that I learned from campaigning and what all these people that I met and what my friends taught me also, right? When they saw that I was running. How do I merge all of that and make it part of my personal brand and my identity? Because the whole experience transformed me. And I also went through something this summer, and that experience also transformed me, right? I've always been spiritual, I've always been a Christian, and I believe in God, but how do I bridge the gap between politics, Bitcoin, skincare, wellness, and all these things that I also identify with, and that is also part of my brand, right? So what I realize is that, when it comes to politics, especially for someone like me who is able to see different perspectives from different spectrums and from peoples with different views and why they stand for what they stand for, is nuance. It's important to have nuance and to not box people in just because they support one party. It doesn't mean that because they support the Conservative Party that they're racist, that they don't like immigrants, that they're homophobes, that they're all these things. Just because they support the Liberal Party, it doesn't mean that they're too far on the left either, right? It's important to have nuance. And I think that, and this is just what I think, I could be wrong, but I think that the next wave of politicians are going to have more nuance. And they're going to, the younger generations, they're going to realize how important it is to bridge gaps and to not ride, this divisive rhetorics either, right? To identify when it's divisive, to identify when those, those rhetorics that can be triggering to some people, what they're actually doing. Does it make sense?
It does. It kind of does. It's because you go around, you say you're conservative, and they start putting tags on you, and it's listen, I'm voting conservative for Bill S-203, the Autism and Special Needs Awareness Bill, because it's like for too long, like special needs Canadians are put in a box, they're told to take government welfare, and they can't realize their potential. And it's like, I'm trying to be that spokesperson that says you don't need to have that avenue. And Bill S-203, if Pierre had won, whether people like it or not, Senator Leo was going to push that through, and we would have had a bill and a system that would have helped the vulnerable on disability that have actual needs that they need, whether they're high functioning, mid functioning, low functioning. Maybe, bring in the skilled trades, get some government cut funding, and like kind of reimagine the immigration system, because under Harper we had the best immigration system, and now we have too many people. And the other thing too is like, whether it sounds wrong or not, they're not adapting. Like they're not adapting to Canada. Like it's like I was in Holland recently. I'm a guest there. I was following their customs, even though I'm a guest. But then, like when you come to like whether it's Canada, Europe, or the U.S., whatever issues, baggage you had back in your home country, don't bring it over, because it's a new start, and we need to really like find a way, as you said, to bridge that. We need to find a way to like not label others, because you're not conservative enough. I'm not conservative enough. I'm a member provincially of the Quebec Liberal Party because like of Charles Millard, who ran against Pablo Rodriguez, because he's kind of like a mix of a Pierre with a Mulrooney in a way, and that's what I do. And it's like, some on the right would say, oh, Quebec, it's like you guys are not conservative enough. But we're a different province. We're not like Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan. We are distinct, as the saying goes.
And I think that's important to remember, right? That we're all different. We all have different realities because we all have different upbringings. We all live in different circumstances and environments. And that's why now for me, I think it's going to be very important to not ride the wave of hate.
Right.
And this is coming from, somebody who identify as a person with conservative values, but also like, with liberal values, right? Because, for example, individualism, freedom of speech and all that, those were always considered as liberal values, right? Like even like questioning big pharma. It used to be the liberals who would do that, right? Like the liberals of the 60s and the 80s, but now the word liberal transformed because everything transforms. You know what I mean?
Change is constant.
Exactly. And as somebody who transformed from all my experiences in the past few months since the election, I realized that if I were to run again, or even if I were to use my platform to talk about politics, I want to lead with compassion. Because if I lead with compassion, that doesn't necessarily mean that, I'm going to be nice, I won't stand up for myself or my views or my beliefs. That's not what it means. It means that, I'm still going to be kind and understanding to the person who may not agree with me. And when I was running for office, when I was campaigning last winter, spring, I mostly led with that, I would say. And my campaign manager at that time, Chris Vaccarella.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
Chris, I love you, man. And by the way, I'm back now, so we got to get together as promised.
Yeah, I love Chris because Chris had the same perspective. He was like, yes, we're going to lead with compassion. We're going to go there, get in front of people. And if they don't agree with us, that's okay. We're not going to debate them unless they want to debate, right? And they're passionate about it. But if someone doesn't agree with us, let's live an impact still. Let's still live an impact, and we're going to do that by being understanding and by finding something in common. And surprisingly enough, when I was campaigning, I was doing door-to-door, I've had liberals who would let me in their house.
Wow.
They would, and there was even this one liberal dude, he told me, oh man, I just voted for Melaniesia Lee. I wish I met you before, but here's a bottle of water, because I know you must be tired.
Wow.
You've been walking around, knocking doors, right? And I would, there was also somebody who voted liberal his whole life, and now he doesn't know who to vote for. And I remember he was on a wheelchair. And yeah, we talked about politics, but we also talked about his life. And he's been in a wheelchair for 20 years. And we talked about his personal life. And, and it touched me. I ended up crying because I was like, wow, this person is teaching me something. And this person is teaching me how, a person who may not agree with me, who may not even vote for me, could still have compassion for me and can still welcome me to his home, right? And I've had a lot of experiences like that. And that's why I'm like, we should not put people in boxes. We should see people as individuals. We should see people as these portals to like different worlds, because they have their own world. And when they let you in their house, or when they even share their views with you, that's an opportunity to connect. So for me, that's one of the things that I'm most proud of. When I campaigned, it's being able to connect with people who may not agree with me, who may not even like the party that I was representing, but who were still kind to me, and who gave me hugs, who gave me water, who let me in their homes, who told me their stories, and who connected with me on a personal level.
That's amazing. I mean, when I found the way we connected, it's a really funny story. So it was when your signs got vandalized, and I was like, this is wrong. I was like, why are they doing this? And it's like, guys, look at her. Like, how could you dislike someone like this based on what you're hearing right now? Like, come on, like this, like, go get some Tallowed and free. So don't guilt by, but like based on that story, come on. This is someone that's very impactful. So I connected with Margie. It was on social media.
A membership. I remember we would be getting emails like almost every day. People applying and they just want to be part of something, right? So that was really cool. And we threw some events, and people showed up, and people made friends. One of them, one of our attendees even met somebody who became his girlfriend.
That's amazing.
And he was single for like a long time, like years.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I love about the Conservative Social Club, was that people were able to make meaningful connections. It wasn't just like, a club where you meet people you may not even have anything in common with. It was literally a club whom you will meet people with whom you share values with.
Very true. I mean, obviously you have to take a step back because you're doing other stuff now with Tallowed and free.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, even though, like, I know Sammy, so our friend Sammy got in, and Sammy's like one of the bright minds, very upfront, but we love Sammy for that. Like, he wears his heart on his sleeve, like myself. But obviously now, like, even me, like, whatever Letitia chooses to do next, I was in contact with her. So I'm hopeful, like, the next time around, like, I mean, like, I don't even give it. Honestly, like, yes, you guys have to be careful who you let in, because obviously, like, you want to make sure it's the right people, the right fit. Like, unfortunately, at the time, I was still very new to politics after, so I was still figuring out where I stand. But I think now, after they're going to see, people will see this interview and they see what I've done. I think I have a chance. I think I have a chance to be a big piece to the puzzle in terms of, like, bringing conservatives together, because that's what I want to do now. Like, my goal is to bring conservatives together. I'd say we're what's called red Tories, because we're not like on the right. We're in like the middle. Like we do like we do value the social systems of Canada, like Medicare, the cheap inexpensive education to a degree, but we're just not on the right. But instead, we're in Quebec, so we're different. But I do believe if we can win some seats in Montreal, I think we could win the next election finally. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, I don't know if you heard about this mock election.
Yes.
Right? That was done before the federal election happened amongst the high school students all over Canada. I believe 900,000 students participated, from what I remember, and they voted a conservative minority government.
Wow.
Right? So that's impactful. That means a lot of things, because usually the Conservative Party does not get the youth vote.
No.
But since Pierre Poilievre became the leader of the Conservative Party, and a lot of young people resonated with his messaging, his platform, and even his stance on Bitcoin, that's changed, right? Like, that changed a lot. So yeah, even when I was campaigning, a lot of people who voted Liberals their whole lives, they were voting Conservative for the first time. Especially in the Greek, Armenian, Portuguese, Italian communities here in Hanse-Cartierville.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on, I mean, obviously, you know, like so much has changed since we said we're going to do the podcast. Like there was the assassination and murder of Charlie Kirk.
Oh.
That's changed. And, you know, that's obviously like shocked everybody, regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on, whether you agree or not. What's your thoughts on the future of that? Do you think that there's going to be 1,000 more Charlies, or do you have a concern that someone like, say, a far right influencer that's been banished for his views and whatnot, like will try to take the power vacuum? What's your thoughts on what could happen with that?
Yeah, that's really sad what happened
Yeah.
to him. It shocked me.
Same.
Because it almost sends a message, right? And for me, the message was that, especially because the person shot him on the throat, it was symbolic for me. It means that, you know, if you use your freedom of speech, you might get shot, or you might get attacked, you might get harassed. And that's also why when I was campaigning, I was very careful with what I was saying, because anyone could harm me physically.
Yeah.
Right? Like there was already somebody going around vandalizing my posters, which is fine. You know, it was part of the game, right? Of putting yourself out there. But for me, I was really afraid at that time of getting harmed, or that the people I love would get harmed. And then seeing Charlie get shot in front of his wife and child in public while he was doing what he was doing, right? Which is having an open debate about different topics in a campus. That made me feel like, at that time especially, that wow, we don't really have a freedom of speech, right? Because we have to be very careful about what we say. Because if you say something that might offend someone, you might get shot, you might get killed. People you love might get harmed. But at the same time, there's the risk of practicing and using your freedom of speech. You might get shot, you might get harmed, you might lose friends, you might not get the job that you want. Like in life, there's gonna be risk. If you drive a car, you might get into an accident, right? If you try to learn how to surf, you might get injured.
And drown.
Or drown, right? But yeah, like, so that's how I felt. It scared me, but then now I feel like, no, I have this one life. You know, we all have this one life. We came here on earth for whatever reason. And if we die today, we die tomorrow, we might, who knows what's gonna happen, right? We might live again, we might get reincarnated, or we might go to another place, we might transform into something else. And regardless, we're gonna die anyways. So why not just live authentically?
Who cares about optics? Like that's the way too. Like for example, like I'm very edgy. I like to call myself, I'm not sure if you're familiar with sports, like Dennis Rodman, the basketball player. I don't follow basketball, but I watched The Last Dance, and that's why like in the conservative movement, it's like I'm gonna be authentic. I always compare myself, you know, you're someone of faith. I'm sure you've heard of the term an anti-hero. That's someone that's done like questionable or bad decisions, and then they come back to redeem themselves. So that's the thing, like, you know, you're not gonna put me in a box. You know, you live one life, be you. Who's gonna they don't like it, that's their problem, right? Like
exactly. Yeah. And I think that when people see that you're genuine, when you're authentic, and you're still kind and compassionate, they're not gonna hate you.
No.
You know, and that's what I was, you know, telling you about my experience when I was running for office. They're telling me, I don't like your party, but you know, you're a nice girl. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And you know, even if they didn't vote for the Conservative Party, at least they know that the Conservative Party had someone that they like who represented them, right? And that's an impact in a way.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very true.
So yeah, back to that, you know, be your authentic self. You have this one life to live. Why conform when it doesn't feel right, when it doesn't suit you? As long as you're not harming anyone, right?
Who's to judge? Yeah, we all sin differently at the end of the day.
Like, and that's the thing too with judging. You know, I was a judgmental person.
We all are.
Right? And sometimes I'm still judgmental, you know, and I try not to. And I try to be more aware of that now. Because I met so many people in my life from different walks of life who've done things that normally I would be like, why would you do that? Or why would you have that kind of perspective? And now I just try to be more open-minded about not everybody is gonna have the same views as me. Not everyone's gonna have the same lifestyle as me. And that's okay. Maybe if I lead with curiosity, I would understand why they have those views. I would understand why they do the things that they do. And if I try to be compassionate at the same time, we can connect on the things that we have in common.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true. And then you also did a massive Asia trip after that. Like, how good was that for you?
It was really good. I randomly went to Bali with no return ticket.
Wow.
I was there for over 2 weeks, then ended up in Karachi for 2 weeks because my best friend lives there.
Okay.
And then we stopped in Dubai for a few days on my way back here to Montreal.
Okay.
Yeah, and I did that because I was going through something personal, and I decided that, okay, I can't deal with this here in Montreal. And my best friend invited me to join her and her friends in Bali, so we went. And for the first time, I let myself go with the flow. Well, it's not for the first time, but for the first time in a long time, I let myself go with the flow without planning what's gonna happen in the next 2 weeks or month, right? And see where life takes me. Again, leading with curiosity, right? And just being open to life surprising me and being open to maybe this trip will transform me somehow, right? And come back inspired. And I came back inspired. I came back more reflective. I came back feeling more peaceful. And I came back with like many things that I actually want to do now. Like I started taking breath work facilitator training. I started learning about somatic exercises and dances to regulate the nervous system. And on top of running Tallowed and Free, I'm gonna be offering these services now at the gym where I work out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, you know, maybe one day you can come and to the studio and we'll do some breath work session with somatic exercises and practice gratitude at the same time. I'm also transforming Tallowed and Free from being a skincare brand to a wellness brand. So it's no longer about a brand that makes products for skincare. It's now a brand that makes products to help people also not just achieve radiant and youthful moisturized skin, but to also help them with their healing journey, to help them achieve inner peace, calmness, and presence. Because I believe that when our inner state is peaceful, it's calm, and we're grateful, it's easier to be present. And when you're present, that's when you actually see magic in the mundane. That's when you get to realize how beautiful it is to be alive and how amazing it is for the fact that the universe conspired for you to be born in this lifetime and to experience all these things that you're experiencing right now. So I want to integrate all of that in my skincare turned wellness brand now. And I want that to be part of my platform, part of my personal brand as well. So I'm not going to be remembered as just somebody who is entrepreneurial and who ran for office against one of the power players in a G7 country, right? Melanie Joly. She was the Minister of Foreign Affairs of that time, and you know, going toe-to-toe against her was an amazing experience. But at the same time, I'm more than that, right? And I feel like I can make a much more positive impact with my wellness brand by bridging, you know, spirituality, wellness, skincare, and even my political views, right? Into like one thing.
That's amazing. Did you ever meet her while on the campaign trail, or no? You guys never like shook hands? Did you ever meet Melanie during the campaign at all?
No, I did not meet her.
Okay.
Yeah, but I do have a lot of respect for her because, you know, like, sure, I may not agree with her most of the time.
Same.
But her job is really hard, you know, being a Minister of Foreign Affairs and, you know, juggling that with personal life and being criticized all the time by people on the left, on the right, in the middle, wherever, right? Even people who voted for her. It's a lot, you know? So I respect her for being strong and for, you know, for the fact that she kept going. And I have compassion for her strength.
Yeah, I think we got to realize that even if we don't agree with them, they're still human at the end of the day. Yeah. Like, for example, like, I don't agree with Anthony at all. I'm blocked by him on X, but I have reached out to him to say, as people say, look, let's have a dialogue. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah. And let's look, you know, I don't agree with you at all. I had my harsh assessments, but he doesn't have it easy too. He's got to answer to the constituents of Mount Royal with their issues on the left and the right. I mean, I've said some pretty harsh things about him too. I mean, but that's
how you felt.
That's how I felt, and not only that, it's live by the sword, die by the sword. Honestly, in politics, that's the thing. You're going to be criticized regardless of. You can't please everyone, so.
You can't please everyone, and you know, going back to being compassionate and understanding and kind, it doesn't mean that you can't criticize. You can't hold people accountable, right?
Right.
Because you could hold someone accountable and still be compassionate. Like, those things can exist all at the same time.
Very true. And you could still, that's the thing, like I said, I have friends on the left, I have friends on the far left, progressive. I mean, I don't agree with them, but I'm not going to debate them. It's like, I just say, look, you know, I'm pretty much a centrist conservative, where it's like, I have my views. These are my views, whether you disagree with them or not. And if I don't agree with your views, but we can go on and live respectfully. That's how I try to live my life. But there are some hills I die on, such as, you know, I'm for free speech and expression. I'm also for, obviously, you know, disability advocates and whatnot. And also, the other hill I die on, which is for foreign policy, is seeing the liberation of Iran from the IRGC and Islamic Republic. Like, I mean, I'm sure you saw that with Mel Lanzmann. Others like who know that. So those are the hills I die on. And you know, you don't have to agree with me, but I'm not going to put you down. But if you're going to be aggressive, then I'm just going to walk away. That's the point of freedom of speech. I don't have to listen to it. I can walk away and you can move on.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when it's so much easier also to not take things very personally when you realize that people have the beliefs that they have because of their upbringing, because of their environment, because of their reality, right? And same with you. You know, you have your perspective and your views because of your reality, which is not my reality, which is not nobody else's reality. It's unique to you, right? And you might be right, I might be wrong, vice versa. And that's okay. You know, there's more to life than politics as well.
There really is.
You know, like one of my takeaways from this whole experience is how politics play a very, very, very small role in a lot of people's lives. And politics is only something that comes up when it becomes a dinner table discussion, right? Or because elections are coming. But in most people's lives, politics is not a big deal. And there's so many other things that you could discuss with your friends or family or the people you meet aside politics, right? So yeah, like, you know, I think it's just important, especially now in a time where more and more people are getting polarized, more and more politicians are being polarizing and divisive. People like you and I who are aware of, you know, the impact of that and who have platforms, maybe it's also our responsibility to not fuel hate, divisiveness, and polarization. Maybe we could use our platform to bridge gaps, right? To bridge different worlds, different realities. with what we have in common as individuals, and to be human first before anything else.
Very, very true.
Like at the end of the day, we're all souls, you know? Like if you like get, I don't know, like lately I've been really into like, you know, just looking at the stars, looking at the moon, looking at videos and pictures of the outer space. And, you know, like just learning about energy, frequency, and all that. And it's like, wow, most people, well, not most people, but a lot of people are living without really thinking about how amazing it is to be alive and how small we are in the universe.
You're a speck of dust. That's the one thing you got to check your ego at the door. Like when I was in the Netherlands, like I forgot about pretty much everything. Mind you, I did have one friend that was like constantly messaging me stuff about politics, and I'm like, and I was like, hey man, I'm like, I'm on vacation. Just leave me alone right now. I don't want to talk about this.
Like there's more to life than politics.
Yeah.
Right? And I think people will like you more too when you show that you know that. And when you share that view with people, because politics can be very polarizing, right? Like I haven't even been following politics.
Good.
And it made me feel more calm and more peaceful.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing how a lot of people are on edge right now because they're in front of the news all the time, right? Like CBC, CTV, or they're on social media following, you know, divisive content creators as well from different sides. And I feel like if you are going to consume something, you know, for your brain, for your mind, be mindful about how this is affecting your inner state and your nervous system. Is it making you angry? Is it making you reactive? Is it making you lash out on X, on Instagram? Because if it is, you know, like take a deep breath,
and
like
step
inhale,
back.
and then exhale slowly, and see like how this is affecting you, and how this might even affect how you show up in the world, and your message.
That makes sense. Do you feel the last question I have is, do you feel you have a future in the next election, whether you decide to run or whether you wanted to like help out in the background? What do you see your future doing if an opportunity arises again?
A lot of people ask me this.
I know, it's a tough one, but I added another factor to the question, so that's good.
Yeah. Look, I'm open to possibilities.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the things that I realized in the past few months is how important it is to be open to possibilities and be flexible to outcomes. So I'll see what happens when I'm there. I'm not gonna think too much about it. Right now, I'm focused on wellness, skincare brand turned into a wellness brand. That's what my focus is on right now. Yeah. I'm not really thinking about whether I'm gonna run again. When the opportunity arises, I'll think about it then. But I wanna make sure that when that opportunity comes to me, I'm not in a state of nervousness. I'm not in a state of fear. I'm in a state of, you know, peace, calmness, and gratitude. Yeah.
Amazing. Margie, where can people connect with you if they want to see what you're doing now?
Yeah, like, well, I'm active on Instagram, and people can find me there. I'm not so active on X lately, because I find like X sometimes
it's a cesspool. It's a cesspool.
Yeah, like it's just like there's so many thoughts out there, right? And I'm very selective with what I consume now as content. Like I would rather just read about how energy affects us, about somatic exercises, psychology, and all that stuff. And yeah, people can find me on Instagram. My handle is It's Margie R, ITS Margie R. And yeah, they can still follow me on X. My handle on X is with Margie. And yeah.
And follow Tallowed and Free. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because the more you follow, people are going to see it, and then they're going to go to the shop in Old Montreal and look for it, and then they're going to go online, and then you're helping her build her purpose. So make sure to follow the handles she gave and Tallowed and Free. I'm really trying to like get this going here so you can succeed. I don't want money. I don't want money in return.
Oh, thank you, Drew.
I don't care about that. I care about the relationships or the real currency. That's how I play it. I'm a Brian Mulrooney style conservative, and I look a bit like him too. So
yeah, you do.
Ben, I'm sorry to say, but I think your dad might have had I know people say I look like Jay Leno, but I might look like your dad too a bit. And he's my hero, and he's one of the reasons why I became a conservative. And make sure to follow the Drewperience. We're on all platforms, mainly on Instagram, guys, and also the YouTube channel. I'm at like 525 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. So please, takes 2 seconds, it's free. If you like conversations like with Margie and all, there's more coming, so stay tuned. Margie, I really want to thank you for coming on and doing this.
And thank you for having me here, Drew. It's a pleasure.
Hope I was a good host.
You are amazing. Thank you so much.
Testimony, guys. Hopefully, yeah, let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Because it did record, you said, so
yeah.
Let's see.
Well, it was recording. You didn't press it again.